The use case for VisualPlace is typically after the design of the schematic in the PCB. You use it for preparing the project for assembly. So normally the values, types and footprints or packages have already been set for each component. Yet it occurs frequently that in that process the decision is made to change one or two components. Now the obvious way to do this is to go back to the schematic, edit it and recreate the project. But it may be more convenient to do simple changes in VisualPlace itself. A first option is to do this via the Bill of Materials editor. If all capacitors of 1 microfarad must change to 417 nanofarad, you can simply edit the value field. However, if, say, only C16 needs to change, it is more involved. One way to handle it is to remove C16 from the designators on the row of the 1 microfarad capacitors, and then scroll all the way down and add a row at the bottom with only C16. This is how you may be used to doing it in a spreadsheet. Note that the value in the quantity column is updated automatically. Also, you don't have to concern yourself about the order, because when you close the Bill of Materials editor, VisualPlace sorts the components automatically. As you see here, VisualPlace has positioned C16 above the capacitors of 1 microfarad. In my case, VisualPlace sorts on component type and value, and 470 nanofarads comes before 1 microfarad. You can also insert new rows in the Bill of Materials editor. You do not need to scroll to the end. I have restored the project and opened the Bill of Materials again. Now we are going to do the same, but differently. I am selecting one component per row. As you can see, the components with the same value and packets are no longer grouped. Every row in the table holds a single component. Now we can go to C16, select the field and type the new value. Closing the Bill of Materials or unticking the one component per row option makes VisualPlace reorder the Bill of Materials. C16 is now on a row on its own and in the right place. I have closed the Bill of Materials dialog and restored the project again. Now I will show you a third way to edit a component. Right-click on the component, select Edit Component Value. This opens a dialog in which you can change the value as well as the footprint. After confirming, you can see the result in the component list. You can do the same on this component list. Unless you want to change the value of all components on the row, you need to expand the group. Then select the component of interest. Then a right-click on that part. And again, select Edit Component Value. And you get the same dialog. These are the various ways in which you can edit component values and packages in VisualPlace. Whichever you choose depends on how many components you need to edit. Editing a bill of materials in VisualPlace is one thing, but ideally those changes should be backpropagated to the schematic and possibly a stock management or order management system. The flexible export function in VisualPlace may help. What also may help is to keep a grip on what changed, when and why, to be able to review at any later date the change history of the bill of materials. Sure, you can keep backup copies, but in practice bills of materials may get large and the components that change are relatively few. So you want to focus on what changed. This is well known in software development and there it is handled through a version control system. But the same applies to any kinds of designs, including schematics and production data. VisualPlace supports two version control systems, Subversion and RCS. The manual describes both systems and why you might prefer one to the other. For now, we can just go to the Tools menu and select the Update and Commit function. It marks the files that we changed, and if we select the file with a bill of materials and then click Compare, it launches a file compare utility to show exactly what we did. VisualPlace lets you commit the local changes to the server or version repository, and it lets you update the development files from a server, in case a coworker updated those files. Currently, VisualPlace does not let you review the entire history of each file. For that, please use the interface or tools of your version control system. And that concludes this presentation.